So it's been a couple of years that we talked to David Shoffner, but we want to talk with him today about Super Bowl ads. David is with spotbowl.com, talking Super Bowl commercials. Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people, brings this conversation to you. David, let's say hello to you. It's been a couple of years, Dave. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad that you're with us here today because we hear about this all the time, and probably Super Bowl ads this year, it's a whole different environment than it's ever been before, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's definitely an interesting year, different year with the pandemic, and I think coming out of a pretty contentious election year too. So yeah, we're seeing an impact there on the ads, no doubt about it.
And the price, did the price get affected by the fact that it's such a different year?
It did, yeah. CBS's asking price this year was $5.5 million for 30 seconds, and that's down from $5.6 the year before. And it's actually the first year in about 10 years that the price has gone down. So not drastically down, but it went down a little bit. So that's one of the impacts for sure.
It is always interesting for us to talk about spotbowl.com and how people can get involved in rating the commercials. That's always a fun part. I know it's fun for what you do, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, we're advertisers, by our day job here in Pennsylvania. We're an agency called Pavone Marketing Group, and yeah, this is our biggest day of the year and our favorite time of the year. So yeah, it's our Christmas, if you will.
There you go. So what do folks need to do to take part in your poll?
You can just go to spotbowl.com. Now we've got all of the pre-released ads. There's 30 ads already released, 30 out of approximately 50. Mm-hmm. So more than half of the ads have been released already, and they're already up on the site at spotbowl.com for pre-game voting. So you can watch them already and vote, and then come back on game day and vote for the rest.
All right, so give us an idea. There's 30 that you said. How many total will there be?
Yeah, I think we usually see around 50 spots in the game. So so there's 19 or 20 by my intel that have announced that they're going to be in the game. There's a lineup page on there that they're going to be in the game but haven't released their ad yet. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see a few more surprises on Sunday.
We're talking with David Shoffner, spotbowl.com. David, was there a point in time years ago when all of a sudden the Super Bowl ads started to become such an event for people that so many people just tune in for them rather than just the game?
Yeah, I mean, they've always been sort of advertisers have always recognized that there's a large audience watching this game. It's the most watched TV event of the year. But I think if we had to look at a certain point in time when it changed, we always look at 1984, and that's when Apple had a spot in the '84 Super Bowl. The spot was called 1984. That featured a woman running, and she throws a sledgehammer through this big screen, and it sort of shatters the screen and ushers in this new age of computing. In that case, for Apple. And that was a big budget spot. It was directed by Ridley Scott, who was a Hollywood director, had directed Aliens. So it was a big budget spot, and it really made people stop and take notice of what a Super Bowl commercial could be. Yeah. And ever since then, yeah, that bar has been consistently been raised.
Of course, in this area, we look to the Joe Green Coke commercial. Was that actually a Super Bowl ad? Is that when that debuted?
That was a Super Bowl ad. I want to say in 1978. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's another example of a memorable Super Bowl ad. And of course, before that, you had Joe Namath and Farrah Fawcett with the Noxzema shaving cream, and so yeah, there are some memorable ads for sure that got their debut in the Super Bowl.
All right, so the spotbowl.com poll where people can go online and they can vote about it. So when you have seen some of these ads, are there some that stand out to you already?
Already, yeah. I mean, I like. I've always been a fan of Doritos and what they do in the Super Bowl, whether it's with their Crash the Super Bowl contest that they did for so many years, where they asked fans to make the spots for them, or more recently. So Doritos always does really edgy, entertaining things. They're doing that again this year with Matthew McConaughey. He's in a spot. Won't spoil it, but it's up on the site. But I also like what Tide does every year recently. They've got a spot out right now, also on our site, featuring Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. His face is on a sweatshirt, and it gets messy over and over again. So there's a lot of hilarity ensues there. So both of those spots, I think, are going to do well in our poll.
Yeah, I've seen those. That one, that's pretty good. There are some big name advertisers that are missing for the first time in a long time too, aren't there?
That's true. Yeah, Coke and Pepsi are sitting out the games, so no Cola Wars. Anheuser-Busch announced that Budweiser would not have a spot. course, Bud Light still will have spots. Michelob will have spots. So they're still advertising some of their brands, but not the Budweiser brand, which is the one that usually has the Clydesdale horses. So it's not going to feel like a Super Bowl without the Clydesdales.
Do you think the Clydesdales might sneak in somehow to some other ad?
I don't think so. I've seen all of Bud Anheuser-Busch's ads, unless they've got one that they're not announcing, some kind of trick up their sleeve. I don't know that they're going to sneak the Clydesdales in there. Wouldn't be the first time the Clydesdales were out of the game. It's been a couple of years, but there've been a few years where they've skipped the game. But yeah, I mean, Anheuser-Busch is actually donating the money that they would have spent on a Budweiser spot, the $5.5 million, to COVID vaccination awareness. So it's a noble cause. They're actually getting some good buzz just from that effort alone.
Yeah. Now, we're going to have you back on Monday. We're going to talk about what we saw. Right now, we're talking about what we think we're going to see. Dave, what's the secret to a good Super Bowl ad?
It's the $5.5 million question, right? I think at the end of the day, you have to entertain folks. That's why we're there. That's why we're watching TV, to be entertained. You can do it with a joke. You can make people laugh. You can do it with something patriotic or sentimental, make people cry. But you got to entertain folks, and more importantly than that, you have to get your story or your brand into that story. You got to make people remember the product or remember the company behind the ad, because there's so many ads that we remember the joke or we remember the talking baby or the dancing monkey or whatever, but we don't remember the company, right? And then in that case, you probably just wasted your money. Yeah,
that's a really good point. There are always a lot of car ads in the Super Bowl too, so we can look forward to some of those, I'm sure.
Usually a lot of car ads. Another effect of the pandemic and the shaky economy, if we do have one there, is that we're not seeing a lot of car ads this year. Only about 4 at last count. Usually we see between 6 and 10. So fewer car ads this year, but the ones that we are seeing, I'm excited about. GM has a spot that they just released the other day with Will Ferrell. Very funny, as always. He's going to Norway to fight some Norwegians because they're dominating us in electric vehicle production. So that GM spot, again, is up on spotball.com right now.
Spotball.com, you can see all these commercials. Dave, you mentioned Will Ferrell. You've mentioned McConaughey, Jason Alexander. Celebrities who show up and surprise us are always interesting. Who are some of the people we're going to see?
Sure. The ones you mentioned, Scott's Miracle Grow has a star-studded spot with Martha Stewart, John Travolta, a bunch of other stars. We're going to see who else we got here. We've got the one that's getting a lot of buzz is Uber Eats. They've got a Wayne's World spot with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey reprising their roles from Wayne's World. That one's going to be pretty funny. Up on the site as we speak. So a lot of familiar faces as usual. I think that's important for a lot of these ads.
And there's always that NFL ad in these last couple of years with all of the legends who come back, and there's some sort of game going on with all of them too. I saw the one with Jerome Bettis and Terry Bradshaw in the attic trying to recreate the Immaculate Reception. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I think that might be a Frito-Lay spot. I think Frito-Lay has an ad this year. It's right before the coin toss, so it's not an official Super Bowl spot. You're not going to see it in our poll, but I want to tell people to watch out for it because it's funny. But yeah, it's got a lot of NFL stars in it, eating various Frito-Lay snacks. That was a really good spot.
There you go. All right, it's spotbowl.com. David Shoffner is going to return to us come Monday, and we're going to talk about what we saw, what were the highest rated ads, maybe a surprise here or there, and just what people are talking about in the wake of the Super Bowl. David, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk with you again Monday.
You bet.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160 and AM 1160.